I'm just glad to be part of something that's growing to be so beautiful and so pure and ethical basketball.
Then everything shifted fast. The momentum snapped. Injuries stacked up, Wemby went out, key bodies dropped, and the whole conversation flipped overnight. This young squad was supposed to fold without its stars, but San Antonio didn't blink. Veterans stepped into the spotlight, role players rose up, and they kept stacking wins against real competition, showing they didn't need one savior to survive. By the time their stars circled back, San Antonio wasn't just hanging around anymore. They were rolling. They handled the Lakers without Wemby, then shut down Oklahoma City's 24-1 run like it meant nothing. The second he returned, what started as hype turned serious real fast. This wasn't a rebuild anymore. This looked like the birth of a team ready to challenge anybody.
I mean, yeah, we have a lot of young guys, but I feel like we got to mature quicker than most young guys, especially with, the kind of season that we want to have. And you got to win those close games to do that. So we've been doing that so far.
Just weeks earlier, everyone was repeating the same line. No Wemby, no Castle, no Dylan Harper. It was supposed to be over. No hope, no fight, no chance. Nobody even asked if San Antonio could survive this stretch. The only debate was how ugly it would get when you lose a 7'5" phenom, your best two-way guard, and a top rookie all at once. Most teams fold right there, but instead, something wild happened. The Spurs pushed back hard. They beat Atlanta, then Denver, ditched the flashy look, and leaned into something colder and smarter. Slower pace, tougher defense, cleaner execution. Suddenly, they looked sharper than ever, even without their stars. Stars. So here's the real question. How does a team lose its three biggest names and somehow start looking sharper?
Look at their stat sheet every single night. They can go 10, 11, 12 deep. They can interchange their starting lineup. They're so versatile at that guard spot where some questions on how they were going to work Fox in early on, how are they going to get Harper's development going with him, with Stephon Castle kind of taking that next jump. And they've just done it seamlessly, and they play defense. And again, they're obviously a much better defensive team with Wemby in the lineup, but they're finding ways to get stops. They go to small ball pretty early. Luke Cornett's been solid for him in his absence. So they're really a plug-and-play team, and they play so hard, and those guards are really, really good.
That's the real story right there. This wasn't just about surviving a rough stretch. This might have been the exact moment the Spurs finally figured out who they really are. Coming into the season, San Antonio wasn't playing with fake hype anymore. This was real expectation, real pressure, the kind that forces teams to grow fast. The veterans brought stability. The young core finally synced up, and right in the middle of it all stood Victor Wembby. From the second he stepped on the floor, he wasn't just defending space, he was owning it. 7'5", swallowing lanes, making scorers hesitate twice. But the real jump showed on offense. The step backs looked smoother, the post work looked calm, patient, planned, no rushing, no forcing. He wasn't chasing plays anymore, he was controlling them, finding shooters in rhythm, reading doubles early, and letting the offense breathe. You could see it forming right in front of everyone. Not just a star, but possibly the future best player in the league. The only concern hanging over everything was health. Last season, Wemby played just 46 games because of deep vein thrombosis, serious stuff, especially at that size. So when he came back stronger and more in control this year, it hit different. San Antonio opened the season 5-0, their best start ever. Not the Duncan era, not the Kawhi run. This group had Wemby putting up nearly 30 a night, grabbing 14 boards and turning the paint into a straight-up no-fly zone.
This team right here, the Spurs.
Shout out to the Spurs.
We gotta really put some respect on them, man. Like, to have three guards that are really dynamic and they're all different. It's great. I know we all talked about, like, man, maybe somebody will have to move, but after watching them for a while, it's like, nah, they all complementary. Like, they all complement each other. Like, De'Aaron Fox is the speed demon, but he's the veteran and he knows what to do. Castle can play any guard position. He can play. He really can play 1 through 3. And he real versatile. And then Dylan Harper's versatile. He could play the 1 and the 2. And their size, they're all like 6'4" and above. Like, even though Fox is a slimmer build, he's still like 6'4".
Mm-hmm.
And then Castle, 6'5", athlete, strong. And Dylan Harper, 6'5", 6'6". I think the Spurs built something and they got a recipe that's gonna be special for years to go. I don't think they gotta make no trades or nothing.
And somehow, they were doing all of this without De'Aaron Fox even touching the floor. Their biggest offseason pickup hadn't played a single minute, yet Wemby carried the load like a seasoned vet. Stephon Castle took another clear step forward as a secondary playmaker and defender. Dylan Harper looked calm and steady like he'd been here for years, and Devin Vassell quietly found his groove again. Smarter movement, sharper cuts, showing he's way more than just a spot-up guy. Everything was lining up until the league reminded them real quick that momentum doesn't come with protection. That hot stretch hit a wall. On November 14th, Wemby went down with a left calf strain, and with how fast calf issues can turn serious, the Spurs didn't hesitate. They shut him down immediately and made one thing clear. This wasn't about chasing short-term wins. This was about the long game. Then it got tougher. One game later, Stephon Castle went down too. Suddenly, it wasn't just Wemby sidelined. Dylan Harper was in and out, the rotation was paper thin, and everyone outside San Antonio wrote the story already. The Spurs were finished, but San Antonio didn't fold. Instead of crashing, they went 5-2 over the next stretch, and these weren't soft wins either. They beat real teams like Atlanta and Denver without their defensive anchor and without their best young guard. The Spurs didn't pretend to be something they weren't. They built something new. They ditched the flash for control, smarter possessions, cleaner looks, fewer mistakes. When your stars are in street clothes, you don't chase highlights. You chase the small edges. That's where San Antonio locked in. They started getting more shots than their opponents, not off luck, but pure discipline. They attacked the glass, slowed the feeling of the game, and forced other teams into uncomfortable looks they didn't want to take. It all connected once De'Aaron Fox shared the floor with Wemby and Castle. The ball stopped bouncing around, found his hands, and stayed there. Everything settled down. Turnovers dropped, possessions felt cleaner, and the offense finally had a grown-up running the show.
But just to be in this type of environment with this team is great. It's very fun. Just playing with guys that that we're gonna play for each other no matter what. There's no egos. And just being in this winning environment, I wouldn't want to get drafted anywhere else.
Fox controlled tempo, pulled defenders toward him, and kept everyone steady under pressure. That calm leadership changed everything behind him. The dirty work followed fast. Jeremy Sochan attacked the boards like a wild card. Keldon Johnson powered through contact, and the bigs battled for every loose rebound. Those extra possessions were priceless, the kind that keep games tight when raw talent alone shouldn't be enough. And defensively, there was no panic, no wild reaches, no reckless gambles. The Spurs stayed disciplined, guiding opponents into mid-range looks, the shots coaches secretly smile at. Sure, some went in, but over 48 minutes, the math always leaned San Antonio's way. It wasn't flashy basketball. It was tough, grown, and sustainable, the kind that builds a real identity. And as the weeks passed, it became obvious. This wasn't just De'Aaron Fox holding things together. Devin Vassell started showing up in a whole new way early in the season.
Yeah, 3 high IQ guards that we don't care who gets it done, and I think it makes it a lot better when you like your teammates off the court. It's a lot easier to play on the court. So, just sharing the ball. Like I said earlier, we're a pretty deep team. We got a lot of guys that can do it on any given night. So, whoever's night it is, then that's what it is.
Conversation around him was split for a while. Solid numbers, sure, but the impact didn't always jump off the screen. He wasn't forcing shots, but defenses weren't exactly losing sleep either. That changed fast. Once injuries hit, the offense tightened up, and Fox took full control of the pace. Vassell leaned all the way into what he does best. He stopped chasing touches and started hunting space, coming off screens, sliding into open pockets, punishing any defense that overplayed Fox. He wasn't just a safety valve anymore. He became part of the real pressure. When San Antonio needed a spark, he was the one stretching the floor and making teams pay for even a split-second mistake. You could feel the shift in real time, not just on the stat sheet against Denver. Every time momentum started slipping, Vassell answered back. Calm jumper, clean footwork, zero hesitation. Whenever the Nuggets tried to swing things their way, he shut it down immediately. It wasn't loud or flashy, it was precise and controlled. The kind of showing that changes how coaches trust you and how defenses prep for you. Then came another boost. Stephon Castle returned, and instead of throwing things off, he made everything tighter. No ego, no rush, no forcing. He defended, moved the ball, and handled backup playmaking like he never missed time. When Fox sat, the offense didn't stall. Castle kept the rhythm steady, driving, kicking, making smart reads. By the time they faced the Lakers, San Antonio had a second-floor general who could control tempo and lock up on the perimeter. This no Wemby version of the Spurs wasn't some thrown-together lineup. It was a real team. A veteran guard setting the tone, wings who knew exactly where to be, and role players locked into every single possession. They weren't just trying to survive games anymore. They stepped onto the floor believing they could control them, and they backed it up. The Lakers matchup became the first real test for this new Spurs identity. No Wemby, still sidelined, but everything they built during that injury stretch was still there. This wasn't about hanging around. It was about proving execution could beat star power from the opening tip, and San Antonio made that clear fast. Fox ran everything. He controlled tempo, attacked when the lane opened, then slowed it down the second the Lakers tried to speed things up. The Spurs played patient basketball. No wild passes, no wasted trips, no rushed decisions. They didn't need some huge shooting night. They needed rhythm and control. That's when Vassell stepped right back into the spotlight. The Lakers sent extra bodies at Fox and dared the wings to make plays. Vassell didn't hesitate. Catch and shoot threes, quick moves, simple reads. Nothing forced, but every bucket landed like a clean counter. Whenever the Lakers tried to make a push, Vassell answered back. And Castle added another layer off the bench, keeping the pressure steady. He brought pure energy and balance, fending hard, keeping the ball moving, and attacking the moment gaps showed up. Most importantly, when Fox took a breather, the offense didn't collapse. Castle kept everything steady, and that was a quiet but massive win. The rest of the squad fed off it fast. Keldon Johnson attacked the rim with purpose, Sochin battled for every board, and Barnes made teams pay for slow rotations from deep. The Spurs didn't outshine the Lakers with star names. They outworked them. By the fourth quarter, LA looked worn down. Every possession turned into a grind. Every mistake came with a price. When the final buzzer hit, the scoreboard said more than just a win. It was validation. San Antonio had beaten a loaded Lakers squad without their franchise player, and they did it by sticking to their new identity. Patient, tough, disciplined. That stretch proved this wasn't a fluke or a lucky night. But just when it felt like the Spurs had fully locked into who they were, everything shifted again. Next up was Oklahoma City, and Victor Wembby was finally back. San Antonio is clearly a different team with him on the floor. That's why you invest in a player like that. Even before tip-off, the energy felt different. This wasn't about who they were facing anymore. It was about how the Spurs would look now that Wemby had returned after weeks of thriving without him. The real question wasn't whether he would help, it was whether the new rhythm could survive once he stepped back in. What came next was even better than expected. Wemby didn't try to take everything back. No stat chasing, no forcing looks, no ego at all. He slid right into a system that already had flow, instantly lifted it higher. The defense snapped back to elite mode immediately. Looks at the rim disappeared, passing lanes closed fast, and Oklahoma City, a team that usually glides in space, suddenly looked boxed in and uncomfortable. San Antonio didn't abandon what was working either. Fox stayed in control of the tempo, Castle stayed active, and that possession-first mindset stayed locked in. But now, every clean look hit different. When OKC collapsed on drives, Vassell became the safety valve. Soft finishes, easy lobs, calm reads. Whenever they backed off, he knocked down rhythm jumpers without hesitation. He didn't need to dominate the ball. Just being on the floor bent the game in his direction. That's where the real magic showed. The Spurs didn't have to choose between the old version and the new one. They merged them. Fox kept slicing defenses. Vassell stayed sharp and punished every rotation. And Castle brought steady control. Only now, every opponent mistake turned into a Wemby moment. Finish at the rim, swatted attempt, instant pressure, or a second-chance bucket on the other end. San Antonio went straight back to their formula. They guided OKC into tough mid-range looks and erased everything near the rim. And when those jumpers came up short, Wemby cleaned the glass without hesitation. The Spurs didn't need to win every single possession. They just won enough of the small ones that actually decide games. The matchup turned gritty and tense, the kind of environment that usually rattles young teams. San Antonio never flinched. They closed it out calmly, one possession at a time, sticking to the same discipline that carried them through the hardest stretch of the season. Only now, they had the ultimate safety net protecting everything behind it.
That's the part the league should be paying attention to. This stretch wasn't luck or some short survival run. It was a team learning how to win the hard way. The Spurs built a possession-first identity, found their engine in Fox, wings who understand spacing and timing, and a defense that bends games in their favor. And now Wemby is fully back inside that system. This isn't a group waiting on chemistry. They already have it. And that's when teams become dangerous. This stretch said more about San Antonio than any single win. It wasn't about sneaking by opponents or just surviving injuries. It was about control. For years, the concern was that losing could turn into habit. That narrative just cracked wide open. This stretch flipped the whole narrative. When things got rough, they didn't panic or speed up. They slowed everything down, trusted the system, and battled one possession at a time. That's real growth showing in real moments. If they stay healthy, the ceiling jumps fast. Fox doesn't have to carry everything anymore. Vassell is turned into a steady off-ball scorer. Castle connects the pieces, and Harper adds creation when things stall. And Wemby? He's not the system anymore. He amplifies it. That's the scary part. The Spurs learned how to control games before learning how to overwhelm teams. Now, they have the talent to do both. If this core stays together, people won't remember this as the stretch they barely got through. They'll remember it as the moment San Antonio stopped rebuilding and started becoming a real problem. So what do you think about this run from the Spurs? Did they just prove they're already a playoff threat? Or is this hot stretch just the beginning of something bigger? I really want to hear your take. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you made it this far, make sure to hit that like button. Share this with someone who's been watching the Spurs closely, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Turn on notifications too, because more breakdowns like this are always on the way. Check out the next video popping up on your screen right now, and I'll catch you in the next one.